Hey everyone, my name is Will, and I like to talk about music. Today I'm going to be doing a classic review of the album from Kraftwerk, Trans-Europe Express. Kraftwerk are a German electronic band who are often cited as being one of the pioneers of the krautrock genre. They're often grouped with bands such as Can as well as Nu, but unlike Can, who often derive their influences from a progressive rock or jazz rock sound, Kraftwerk would eventually embrace more electronic instrumentation, as they do on this record, Trans-Europe Express. Their music essentially sounds like the pop music of the distant future, when robots are taking over the world and writing their own songs. You can see this from the heavy use of synthesizers throughout this project, as well as the vocoders as well. The band has had a massive influence on genres ranging from synth pop, hip hop, post-punk, house music, and ambient as well. The opener, Europe Endless, feels like a dystopian glimpse into the future where everything is perfect in an uncanny way. The synths on this track sound so optimistic to the point that they almost become dark in a weird sense, where it feels so dystopian, like looking at the world from rose-colored glasses. It starts off the record with these swirling synth loops that bathe in a first inversion major chord. Their incessant repetition gives off a hypnotic quality that really puts me into a lull. The synth bass line that comes in after this offers a very light and bouncy feeling that's only amplified once the dance beat kicks in as well. Most melancholic sounds that you will hear on this track are actually in the middle of the mix, where these synths almost sound like they could be a string section if it was orchestrated. On the other hand, the Hall of Mirrors, the second track, feels completely dark in a much more straightforward way. It is a haunting take on the way that one's own appearance can affect a person. It explains that even the greatest stars in the world can dislike their own appearance. Because of this, I am reminded of a track like Seen and Not Seen off of the Talking Heads' Remain in Light. While I love the lyrical imagery present on this track, it would not be the same if it didn't have the amazing instrumental to match its dark imagery. There are a variety of synth tones present here, a gloomy bass line that looms like a shadow, higher pitched tones that have the articulation of a harpsichord, and these escalating glissando figures that put me into a state of near hypnosis. The only percussion present on the track is a very stark and skeletal beat that has the attack of gunshots in the background. Showroom Dummies offers a similar eerie atmosphere, but delivered in a catchier fashion with its driving beats and mesmerizing lead synth work. It even features a lengthy instrumental bridge with a lead synthesizer solo, and its outro also contains one of the greatest lead synth parts on the record as well, in my opinion. The synth pads that saturate the background of the mix sound quite choral as well, adding to its haunting aura. Researching into the track, I found that it was actually inspired by a review of one of their performances, in which they were called Showroom Dummies because of their unemotional playing style. From here we enter the following three tracks, which are mainly all a part of the title track, Trans-Europe Express, the first being the title track, Trans-Europe Express. And I think that the elements present on this track are nothing too complex, but the execution is so unbelievably hard-hitting, from that grand chord progression with the stacked fourths on top of each other that just continues to build and build, to the blunt and straightforward vocal refrain, to the beat, which almost feels like I'm being sucked into a vacuum or a black hole. The band takes all of the dark and dystopian moods present in the first few tracks and make it sound terrifying in a grand and apocalyptic way. Metal on Metal is an amazing continuation of Trans-Europe Express, taking that similar mind-altering beat and now introducing some synth tones whose slow and eerie glissandos sound like the sounds of the train guiding this Trans-Europe Express. I also love these simple but heavy metallic percussion parts present on this track that play a crucial role in keeping the momentum of the groove going as well. There's even a somewhat tribal feel to the massive drum rhythms that drive the instrumental too. Then Abzug concludes the trilogy of tracks that are part of this material from the title track, and I think this final part starts to utilize instrumental elements that sound a bit more natural and human-like to my ears, especially with the way that the drums are now more acoustic. The synths sound fuller and warmer as well, more like a bed of synth pads rather than the cold organ type sound that we heard on the title track. The last two tracks, Franz, Schubert, and Endless Endless, combine to make for a conclusion that offers an optimistic perspective on the world, as it is similar to the material heard on the opener with its sweeping synth arpeggios. It's also similar in the way that it's just bathing you in this major chord throughout. However, the optimism that was initially heard at the beginning of the album now takes a different meaning, I think, because of the dark and apocalyptic sounds that we heard on the previous few tracks. It's clearly hinting towards something dark and evil upon us in the future, and I think in this respect, these very happy and optimistic sounds that we're hearing at the end of the record could be hopeful, but also could be ironic and maybe hinting towards something very bad to come. The vocoders in the final moments of Endless Endless probably prove this point, as they give such an odd rush of both hope and melancholy, sounding like the warning of a distant future when robots have taken over. Overall, I just absolutely love this album. It's a simple but powerful commentary on how the world may look in a dystopian future, and just backs this theme up with instrumentals that perfectly match its dark undertones. The music on this album could be described as minimalistic, with its use of skeletal beats and synthetic instrumentation, but I find the execution and the performance of practically every element here to entrance me. In fact, there's not a moment on this album when I don't feel immersed in the experience. I don't feel completely entranced in what I am hearing, both instrumentally and lyrically. As simple as it is and as minimalistic as it is, everything on this album hits. This record absolutely deserves its reputation as one of the powerhouses of electronic music, as I still think it sounds incredible today, and honestly can barely find any flaws that I could have with it. So with that being said, I'm feeling a 10 on this record. What do you think about this classic album? Do you love it like I do? Are you not as crazy about it? Let me know in the comments. What should I rank or review next? Is there any type of music content that you want to see in the future? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Will's Music Review, and I'll see you in the next video.